The night was alive with music and fireworks as I played my final chord, basking in the applause. But behind the flashing lights, my life was about to change. After the concert, Liam, our lead singer, urged me to join the band permanently. As tempting as it was, I knew my grandmother wouldn't approve. She had raised me alone after my parents disappeared, expecting a responsible future for me. Music was my escape, but duty kept me grounded. School was routine, classes, studying, library visits, until Miss Kaia arrived. She was quiet, always wearing a beanie, and rarely spoke. One day, when I dropped my books and my origami animals scattered, she picked them up with an odd, knowing look before walking away. My curiosity deepened. That night, returning to school for forgotten notes, I saw a sleek motorcycle parked outside. To my shock, Ms. Kaia emerged, now in a leather jacket, her fiery hair moving like living flames. I followed her as she confronted thugs harassing someone, encircling them in a ring of fire. My heart pounded. Who was she? The next morning, I confronted her. At first, she brushed me off, but eventually, she told me to meet her at the abandoned pier at sunset. When I arrived, she leaned against her bike, firelight glowing in her hair. Her real name was Mara, a pyro-Aran from Natlan, sent to protect her people. It was overwhelming, yet exhilarating. Before I could question her, she tossed me a helmet. Hop on. Riding with Mara felt unreal. Her bike defied gravity, soaring above the city. Over the next few days, I learned more about her world and her loss. Her sister, who, like me, loved origami. We bonded over books, late-night talks, and for the first time, I felt part of something bigger. One evening, I took her to the mall, and her reactions were priceless. She was fascinated by escalators and baffled by air conditioning, but the laughter didn't last. That night, a fire broke out in an apartment complex. A little girl sobbed, pleading for someone to save her parents. The sight stirred painful memories of my own loss. Mara placed a reassuring hand on my shoulder. "I've got this." I watched in awe as she controlled the flames, emerging moments later with the girl's coughing parents. As they reunited, I realized Mara wasn't just powerful. She was hope itself. Later, beneath the stars, she turned to me. "You're still searching, aren't you?" I admitted I never stopped believing my parents were out there. "Hold on to that hope," she said, "but don't let it hold you back." Inspired, we recreated a festival by the harbor, drawing the city together. As I played my heart out on stage, I spotted my grandmother in the audience, smiling proudly. For the first time, I didn't feel trapped. I felt free. After the concert, Mara handed me a lantern. "Make a wish." I whispered my lifelong wish, to see my parents again. As I released it, two silhouettes stepped forward. "Mom! Dad?" Tears streamed down my face as I ran into their arms. But Mara stood by a glowing portal, ready to leave. "You're going, aren't you?" I asked. She nodded. "Natlan needs me." She tapped my phone, downloading something. "Play this when you miss me." It was Genshin Impact. With one last embrace, she stepped through the portal. Fireworks exploded overhead, no longer symbols of loss, but of home.